All right, good morning. I didn't hear anything. Morning. A little better. Class looks fuller today, for some reason. Are there extra people? They haven't been here before? It's a little full. Good. All right, so today we're talking about global management, okay? I'll turn the music down in a second. We're looking at Vietnam. Two things that you have to get out of the next two sessions, okay? Two terms I want you to be an expert, or at least very familiar on. One we kind of touched on, I think, already. Ethnocentricity, that's a tough word to say, so everybody say ethnocentricity. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. I won't ask you to spell it. And then the other word is global competence. You're going to be seeing this word more and more and more in the next 10, 15, 20 years, okay? It's a hot topic now if you do anything internationally, but in the education system, the word will be, are you global competent, yes or no? In interviews, are you global competent, yes or no? So I just want you to be aware of it. I've been to 54 countries, and therefore I am not ethnocentric. What does that mean?
You're centered.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're centered to one ethnicity or region, maybe?
Sorta. Ethnocentricity means what? Kinda. Music was getting to me, even though it's relaxing, I was starting to fall asleep.
That you love your country, you don't.
No, that's pride. There's nothing wrong with pride. This is a bad word. Pride is a good word. And you should have pride about your country. I have no issue with that. I have pride.
You don't care.
I have
about
concerns. Huh?
others. You don't care about other countries, right?
Kinda.
Oh.
Anybody else guess? Ethnocentricity. It is in the Wake Tech INT 110 book, and it's in the Harvard International Business book attached to one country, us. And it's not good.
Is it being ignorant about any
You
culture
are
other than your own?
beautiful. You're on the right track. No.
Centered around one ethnicity?
You're on the track. You guys are good guessers. You're on it. I'll ask you a question after this short video. Everybody know who Anthony Bourdain was?
No.
Really? He died about 2 years ago. He's the only celebrity I've ever followed, was a chef and then got a travel gig on one of the major networks and did culture shows about travel. He's phenomenal. He should have taught college. It's a storyteller.
For Los Angeles, Chicago, do you think that where you live is the center of the world, or the most modern, or the wealthiest, or the most sophisticated? Shanghai is going to be a real rude slap in the face. Every time I go to China, it changed from before. There's been this huge move from sort of an agrarian, farming, manufacturing economy, rural economy, to, a new middle class enjoying new freedoms to travel internally and to spend money. And is a money man, materialistic, luxury crazed, food crazed culture, and levels of luxury and technological sophistication that makes me, a New Yorker, feel like I live in a third world country at times. China is a country that's changing, faster than any country in history. It's got a skyline that they frankly wouldn't allow us in New York because we're too provincial. It is the most ferociously capitalistic go-go economy anywhere. And to what extent the past will be able to enjoy that, I don't know. You can still find the good old stuff though.
Any idea now? Ethnocentricity. Maybe I covered it with the 5 30 class. We had a little more time. I thought we dummied this down.
The most modern and changing.
No. You believe your culture's better than every other culture on the planet. Tell me. My culture's better than yours. That's different than pride. Most of us have no clue about China. That's a small city compared to their other cities on the East Coast. We have 13 with over 18 million. New York City, 7 million.
That's crazy.
Huh?
It's crazy. I don't really look at China like that every day, but.
Well, I know. None of us do.
It has changed, yeah.
Well, it's not just it. That was North Korea when I was your age. That looked like North Korea. In 30 years, it's gone. Just like most countries that we don't even talk about. We have no clue. When I say we, remember, I don't know any of you. I may be wrong about a few, but statistically, we know nothing, even about Mexico. We know it's south. Why is the question? That's the answer that we have to come up with in the next 2 class periods, because it's hurting us all dramatically in terms of standard of living, in terms of wealth and opportunity. We are globalized. In 1975, this country was #1 at everything, including education. The stats were #1 in just about every category. That ain't true anymore. Education is 69th in the world, here. And it's falling bad. I mean, it's falling fast. How many of you have traveled out of the borders of the United States? Where?
Canada.
Okay. Where?
Scotland.
Beautiful. Glasgow? Where? Huh? Okay. Where?
Mexico, Germany, Austria.
Oh, Germany and Austria. What'd you notice about Germany and Austria?
Really nice how they're built up.
Yeah.
These trains about it.
Yeah, and they're on time, and they're clean, they're safe, they go fast. Where?
Guatemala and Kenya
Kenya, okay, Nairobi,
and Guatemala.
and Guatemala. Just got back from Guatemala. Everybody says Guatemala is dangerous. Yeah, they have 22 zones, 5 of them are. They are. I didn't go into those 5 zones. I went into the other zones, which made downtown Raleigh look really boring. Bars and restaurants and nightclubs. We think our culture, it's not because we are rational about it, that we've been everywhere, we're making a decision on this. It's just that we don't know, or we don't want to know. And I think that's part of it. We don't want to know. We've been told we have the best culture. Here's the issue. What's our culture? You've been to Austria and Germany. I can see their culture, beer gardens everywhere, lederhosen, the Alps, the ski resorts, the soccer, the cleanliness, the on time, the Audis, the Porsches, the Mercedes, and we're better? I beg to differ. I've driven on the Autobahn. A little nicer than the 540. I think it's because we don't want to know. We have to change that for some of you. Unfortunately, most of you have made a decision, statistically, that you don't want to know. That's fine. For the ones that want to know, you still have to sit through the class and pretend that you're interested. But there's a few of you that will say, you know what? I see the dots here. I see the dots for someone who wants a career where I get to associate with 194 other countries because there's opportunity to make a decent living. What do I need to do? Well, that's on the other side of the board. I got a 4-minute video that highlighted what was called the Lost Boys. They came from the Sudan. About 13, 14 years ago. It's a documentary. They came to the United States and lived with host families in different cities around the country. Minneapolis, Chicago, New York, LA. None of them lasted. They all went home. I think the last one went home his 11th month. It's a short little trailer. I want to ask you why after this video, if you know.
It's 3 a.m. What's going on?
I wish there was an app.
It's the price you pay for YouTube, but I hate commercials.
And done. Do people go to the river with containers to draw water for themselves? For busing. You want to take busing?
There's something called apartment. I've never met, and I've never seen it.
Sure. How does it look like? Sure.
I've never used electricity, so I imagine it is really very hard for me to do that.
In the United States, we had it's only one way. These things are going to affect us.
The food we got in the plane was not really good as what we used to be eaten in
Just like soap, that's moment. I don't know if it's soap or bitter here. I just see people say, it's food, eat. But when I try to taste, it's like soap actually.
And even now I cannot tell. Is that meat? Is that milk? Is that ghee? I cannot tell.
Potatoes. In Africa, you use just to cook it, and you boil it, okay? Yeah, they make different, they make it in different way. They call it chips, they slice it, they fry it, they put it in the bag, okay?
It's ready.
It's already cooked, yes. Try it, it's yours. Everything in your house belongs to you. We do not throw things away through the window. We put here, press this, push, goes down, right? Yeah.
Is this a food?
These are donuts.
These are colored sprinkles.
Yeah.
Can you decorate one? Want to try one? Want to taste it?
It is really like this.
See what you got.
Never. That is circles. The circles.
And how does it connect it with the birth of Jesus Christ? I think many of us have so many questions to ask, but I think we have few people to answer them.
Everything is different. Everything is different. It's kind of irritating because people know you're from Africa. They say, oh, where are you from Africa? Yes. Some people, they say, like, do you live in the forest? Nobody is born in the forest. You can't live in the forest. You have to live in a house. In the United States, people are not friendly. You can find somebody walking in the street by himself, don't even talk, You cannot go to the house of somebody whom you don't know, though you are all Americans. You call the police, why this guy come to my house and I don't know him. But in Sudan, they can ask you, have you got lost? Are you new to this place? They can ask you. You say, I'm new to this place, they can show you where you are. You can even talk with them. It is important we ask them, how do people work in this area? How do people feel when you ask somebody, now can you show me a way? How do we feel, That's difficult, you cannot even ask him because these are different people. Huh? That's really difficult, I don't know. How are we going to be acquainted with this life? It's a great change, actually.
Great shame, actually. Why? Why would they all leave and go back to Africa? Now, Africa's 54 countries. Africa's not a country. Most of them, thanks to China, would shock you in 2021 on what you would see in terms of roads and highways and bridges and libraries and big corporate buildings. But there's a few countries in Africa that are still what you think Africa looks like. Even though there's a few big cities in the Sudan, it is an impoverished country. Why would they want to go home after living in Chicago and Minneapolis so quickly? It's more than culture shock. He said what? People are mean, unfriendly.
I was gonna say,
Are they?
Self-centered.
yeah, pretty much.
No, not everybody. Not everybody. This is the only country that I have been in where if I was to walk down Falls of the Neuse or Capitol with a map looking lost, nobody would stop and help me. Yet every other country, that I get out of the tourist area and walk through the neighborhoods, people approach me and say, where are you from? Really? What do you think of our, what do you think? I've been invited in Qatar and Cuba into people's homes for coffee. Just because I'm an American walking through a neighborhood. Doesn't happen here. They won't help me, let alone the foreigner. But we got the best culture. Why did I see so many people nod their heads and say we're not friendly? Is that really true? Or are we scared? Are we resentful for some reason? I don't remember this happening in high school when I came back from Germany. My neighbors were always outside, on the front porch, having block parties. My neighbors today, they don't leave the house. Every other country I go to, everybody's out. Guatemala, everyone's out. They're sharing a Coke, drinking beer, drinking whiskey, listening to music. Enjoying their culture. I gotta come back here, I'm bored stiff. What culture? What's our culture? We think it's the best. We should know our culture. I get very few people that can answer that question. I've had a few. I've had one student said we're an overweight Statue of Liberty holding the Big Mac. That's what they think of. We have some good things, I think. Like what? What is our culture?
I'd say American football and basketball.
Sports. Yet the only one that doesn't watch soccer in the world. They call it football everywhere else. We call it soccer. They call it football. We're a sports culture. I think that's good. Does it make it better than Germany? I don't think so. But that's me. What else are we? That's it? We're just a land of sports?
Technology.
Technology, okay.
Workers, I don't know.
Workers?
Yeah, hard workers.
Well, we're the only country that has 3, 4, and 5 jobs. We work 3, 4, and 5 jobs. 2, 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6. Why? Because we like to buy, and we're in debt. Other cultures don't have that. They got time to socialize. We don't. Not everybody. I'm saying what I see, maybe what you see. What else is our culture? We're consumption. Nobody buys like us. We have 3.7 million homes in this country that you can't open the front door. It's called hoarding. It doesn't happen in other countries. There's a TV show about it, hoarding, hoarders or whatever. We buy and buy. We got a TV in every room. We got cars in the garage, on the driveway, on the front lawn, down the street. How many pairs of shoes do we have? Other cultures don't do this. They don't need to work 3 or 4 jobs to pay the bills and the interest. But we're better. Let's look at one. Let's look at a country called Qatar, where I took Wake Tech in 2014. Oh my God, we had 100 people wanting to go. I ended up taking 8. Qatar is in the heart of the Middle East. We had 100 people, 100 students wanting to go. One, because they knew me and wanted to travel with me. They felt safe. And 2, the price was only $1,700 for 10 days, including flight. Why? Because a Peace College alum made it big over there and has lots of money. And she said, hey, do a joint trip with William Peace University. I'll pay for everybody's trip, half. I'll pay half. Well, I only took 8 because 92 parents called me screaming, why would you offer this trip? Timmy can't go there. Everything's destroyed. There's wars. It's dangerous. Well, the ones that watched the video you're about to see, the parents said, can I go with them? I couldn't take parents. They were misinformed about a culture that might be, in some ways, better than the one we have, even though it's in the scary Middle East. Take a look. Anybody ever heard of Qatar? Okay. They say Qatar.
Offering a nation called Qatar, wedged between Saudi Arabia and Iran. There have been no protests or demonstrations there. That might be because the 250,000 Qatari citizens are the richest people in the world, and there are no taxes. There isn't much democracy either, but Qataris don't seem to mind. The same family has ruled them for 150 years, and life couldn't be much better. Today, Qatar is not only wealthy, it's powerful, admired or feared by everyone in the Middle East. That's because of its television network Al Jazeera, which has been the engine of the Arab Spring. The man behind it, the man behind everything there, is His Highness Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar.
The story will continue in a moment.
The Emir is the master of everything he surveys. All around him, revolutions are swirling, regimes are teetering, dictators falling. Yet his desert country is an oasis of tranquility.
You are surrounded, Emir, by revolution. We call it the Arab Spring. How have you managed to avoid it?
We started our Qatari Spring a long time ago.
To be precise, 16 years ago, when the Emir overthrew his father in a palace coup and started creating a country which could startle anyone living anywhere else.
I think Americans are going to be shocked about a few things here. That there are no taxes, that electricity is free, healthcare is free, education is free. Sounds like a paradise.
Well, I welcome you in this paradise.
The Emir's paradise is rising from the sands along the western edge of the Arabian Gulf. In Doha, Qatar's capital, entire new neighborhoods have been built on land reclaimed from the city. And the buildings have one thing in common: bling. Doha's skyline looks like it was designed by architects who didn't talk to each other, didn't like each other, and engaged in experiments they could never get away with at home. And a Qatari can live anywhere without ever leaving home. A virtual Venice is around the corner, Rodeo Drive is down the block, and there are world-class restaurants in the ancient Arab souk, which was built 5 years ago. Fahad Al-Attiyah, one of the royal family's army of advisors, took us for a drive. You were born here?
Yes, born in Qatar.
There wasn't any of this?
There wasn't, yes.
Nothing?
Nothing.
How far back do you have to go? Your grandfather or your great-grandfather lived in tents?
My father.
Your father lived in a tent?
Yes. The amazing thing, that it is my father's generation that transitioned from living in a tent to living in an urban environment, from commuting in a camel to commuting in a 747. And that transition within such a short period of time is astonishing.
The work is being done by a million-man army of immigrants. 94% of Qatar's labor force is foreign. Filipinos, Indians, Nepalese mainly, creating a home for a mere 250,000 Qataris. Paying for it? No problem. Qatar sits on top of the third largest natural gas reserves on the planet. A new plant called the Pearl turns those reserves into liquid fuels. It cost $18 billion and took 5 years to build. It is the largest, most sophisticated plant of its kind, and a centerpiece of the Emir's strategy to keep Qatar rich. When we ran into him at its inauguration, he seemed genuinely proud. Well, congratulations, now you've got the biggest plant in the world.
Oh, that's a great one. I'm happy that they finished it.
Yeah. On time, too. Time is a precious commodity here. Everything's happening at once. They're finishing a new hospital. The Qataris say will be one of the most advanced in the world. There's a new concert hall with a new symphony orchestra. The Emir imported the musicians. 6 American universities have built campuses here, offering American degrees in the heart of the Middle East. The Museum of Islamic Art, with a $1 billion collection, opened last year. Admission, of course, is free.
Everything is free, and that become like a part of our culture.
Sheikh Hamad bin Jassim is Qatar's prime minister.
Even when the people died, we take care of them.
Free funerals.
Yes.
From cradle to grave.
Yes.
Everything's taken care of.
That's we can make a logo.
This is a pretty good place to live.
Yes, we are living in good environments.
Our culture's better. I didn't think so. We were treated like royalty. You know, the Wake Tech students could not have had a better time. Made a lot of friends too, yes.
Are the immigrants afforded the same rights?
Well, we can get into, there are issues, no, they're not, horrible. But we're talking about the culture for the 250,000. We're comparing that to the United States. In paradise, there's something to pick out, yeah. I understand what you're saying. Now you can look at on the other end of the job, other end of the spectrum. There are some immigrants that are having a better time in Qatar than where they come from. Not all of them, there's abuses. But they have been afforded some luxuries living in Qatar and opportunities they would have never gotten. I've met a few. They're building all the soccer stadiums for the World Cup. I asked a question. I didn't say, hey, no one's giving me an answer. I don't want to do group read out of the book. I need participation. I'll ask again. Our culture's better than them?
I don't think I want to say anything until I visited the place.
Do what?
I wouldn't say anything until I visited the place, but after watching that, it kind of made me want to.
You're right. You made a great point. Matthew, right?
Yeah.
You made a great point. Just because people watch videos doesn't mean anything. It's a start, but you don't really know until you're there. Until you smell it, until you meet the people, until you taste the food, until you experience the experience. This starts. This can kind of help you, but there's a lot of people that look at pictures and videos and go, fake! I had one at North Campus. Can't wait until March 10th, or until we leave to Peru with him. He's not convinced Peru's nice. I've been there. It's incredible. He's going to start crying when he sees Machu Picchu and Lima and Cusco and all these beautiful cities. Let's look at another one. Richest country in the world. Oh, let's go back to China. Let's take a look at Wuhan. What does Wuhan look like, by the way?
Find the hotel, vacation rental, cabin, that's the whole port.
What is Wuhan?
It's on a river.
It's on a river? But what is it? Where have we heard it in the news, in the media?
Where COVID was.
COVID. Every time CNN, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS goes to Wuhan, China, there's a dark alley with all these wet market scenes. Blood and water all over, and the people with these uniforms, and they're walking around with these sprayers. No wonder we're scared of Wuhan. There's a street there. Yeah, there's a few wet markets. This is Wuhan, China. It's one of the smaller cities in China, by the way. They forget to show why some 65,000 Americans call Wuhan their own. They're home now. How many international students from the U.S. transferred to universities over there and stayed and teach English abroad? It's not a wet market.
Huge.
It's massive, and it's clean. I landed in Shanghai and Beijing back in 2010. I was blown away. I had no idea. And I was looking for bikes. Where are all the bikes? I didn't see any bikes. I saw Audis and Mercedes and Porsches. A lot of Ford and Hummers on the roads. I didn't see any bikes. But that's what the typical American thinks because no one's shown them. And if you're not shown, except negative, you're afraid to travel. And why explore a new country for opportunity when we're the best anyway? Big problem. Just taking you around the world here. You saw a little of Vietnam. Place we went to in 2014 on an Asia trip was Vietnam, 18 Wake Tech students, 2 faculty, 2 community members. We landed, walked out of the airport, 3 of them said, I thought we were going to Vietnam. What is all this? I mean, I prepared myself, but I didn't realize how big Saigon was, how much it's changed since 1975 when we were in a war. By the way, we lost. We were at the top of that building with a helicopter pad. There's a bar up there. I had most of the students, who only were drinking water, okay, say, what the hell is, what? How come I didn't know about this? And Michael moved over there. He's been over there for 6 years now. I mean, he started looking the day he got back. And he had never left the East Coast. Signed up to teach English abroad, met a girl, and he's over there. This is Vietnam. How many people, when you ask what Vietnam looks like, will tell you what I hear? Rice fields, war, tanks. Really? Well, things change. And unfortunately, or fortunately, unfortunately for us, things have changed at a speed no one ever believed. We didn't look back and see it coming. Their standard of living. Not for everybody. They got poor people. They get poverty. But for so many like China and most of the countries in the world, their standard of living went way up. Their opportunity in business and making money has gone way up. I can't say the same for here. Let's look at another one. Has anybody been to Vietnam? Has anybody been to Qatar? What does Russia look like? It's cold. All year? What do you mean you don't know? Is there a country other than Antarctica that's cold all year? Russia has a temperate climate, like here. They don't have the extreme cold like Minneapolis and Chicago with that area from Canada, and it doesn't get as hot as parts out west and in Arizona. It's more temperate, but they have summer, winter, fall, and spring. What does Russia look like? Russia. Nobody? Not even a guess? We don't have snowy, no, you can't use cold and snowy at the same one. I know, that's all. We should try. I can't even get guesses. We know nothing about one city in Russia?
I think about the big, like, square, boring,
Red Square.
concrete.